So now that Aquaman has come out, and in my opinion, officially revitalized the DCEU, I think it's about time for us to take a look and see just who really is the most powerful character in the DCEU. And since the DCEU hasn't really been around too long, and there aren't the same plethora of heroes as the MCU, we'll be including both heroes and villains on this list. And also, this list is just for who was the strongest in a fight. So while Lex Luthor might be the smartest, and Batman might be the master of prep, that won't really matter here, since just seeing how powerful they are in a random fight. And also, Aquaman won't have the Atlantean army at his disposal, or all of his incredible sea creatures, and Wonder Woman wouldn't have access to Amazonians or things like that. That just wouldn't be fair. So those are the rules. Now let's get started. Lex Luthor. So Lex Luthor seems kinda obvious as the weakest person in the DCEU. Yeah, he might be the smartest guy in the world, although that's arguably Batman, and he was the one who created and unleashed the monster Doomsday. But other than that, not that impressive. Nothing to write home about. He's just a rich kid who inherited his wealth and probably has never worked a hard day in his life. Lex is a strategist and a manipulator, not a fighter, and he's coming in last on this list. Next up, we got the Joker. Honestly, Joker and Lex are kinda similar, at least when it comes to a fight. Joker is a freaking psychopath, and he's at all afraid to fight. But really, he's more of a gang boss, not the enforcer. Like, yeah, Joker is terrifying, and I'd honestly be so scared to fight him. But I think I could if I had to. Especially if we had similar weapons, like if we had a knife, or a gun, or even a baseball bat, or something like that. I mean, I'd probably lose, but if a YouTuber thinks he could hold his own in a fight with a comic book villain, probably means that villain isn't too powerful. Either that, or I think just way too highly of myself. Probably a bit of both. But you get my point. Like, what did he actually do in the movie, besides stand around and laugh while his cronies did all the work? That's all I'm saying. Captain Boomerang. Captain Boomerang was kinda a disappointment for me. Not in the acting, because I think Jai Courtney did a surprisingly good job, and it's one of the few roles that I liked him in. I'm talking more about his fighting ability. Because in the comics, Captain Boomerang regularly goes up against the Flash. And yeah, it's kinda unbelievable, and it's more Flash is going easy on him. But he is a part of that rogues gallery, and that should make him a legitimate threat. But in the DCEU, Harkness was easily dispatched by an amateur Flash. Doesn't really have any trick boomerangs, except for a few explosive ones, and is kinda easily distracted in a fight, whether it's because he's lost his pink unicorn or he just wants to crack open a cold one. Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn showed some actual promise and potential, and begins the next section of our list. People who have some actual fighting skill and ability. Harley did really well in all of her fights against the monster soldiers, whether she was fighting by herself or alongside other members of the Suicide Squad. She was able to headshot two monsters while flipping around in the air, proving she's got some serious accuracy. Harley's also impressively agile, able to run up walls in a fight and land on top of a motorcycle mid-crash. Plus, knowing Harley, I'm sure she would have no problem using her sexuality or powers of seduction in a fight. So watch out, guys. Rick Flag. Rick Flag is the soldier. I mean, the soldier. Or at least in the DC universe. Captain America will always be the best soldier in my heart. Anyways, Flag is said to be the finest Special Forces officer that the US military ever produced. He's a graduate from West Point, expert in counterinsurgency and special ops, can use any weapon in the US inventory, and has killed who knows how many men all by himself. And while he had a particularly hard time against the monster soldiers, more so than the rest of the squad did, remember, those soldiers were targeting and gunning for him. That's the only reason he struggled so much, and he still did better than people like Captain Boomerang. Killer Croc. Killer Croc is a beast, and I mean that in the most literal way possible. He's definitely not the smartest guy on this list, but what he lacks in brains, he definitely makes up for in brawn. He was able to easily take down police officers with just one hand and effortlessly kill them. He was able to throw monster soldiers a dozen feet or so into a car and destroy the car on impact, as well as take down monster soldiers with just one good hit. Killer Croc is even above cannibalism, as he ate a man's hand off, and who knows what else he's done. Katana. Katana is a badass samurai, a master fighter and swordsman, or swordswoman, and was actually the one specifically brought in to protect Rick Flag from other members of the Suicide Squad. She's strong enough to cut a monster soldier completely in half, and durable enough to take multiple attacks from the Enchantress and get back up afterwards. She's also fast enough to dodge boomerangs from Captain Boomerang and evade and duck under multiple attacks from Incubus. But really, what puts her so high on this list is none other than her sword. This sword is seriously powerful. Not only does it trap the souls of its victims inside the sword, but it easily takes down monster soldiers, slices the hand off of the superhumanly strong Incubus, and it was even the thing responsible for taking down Enchantress, as Harley Quinn stabbed her with it. That sword puts Katana up on a different level. Deadshot. Floyd Lawton is a gun for hire, and the deadliest mercenary in the world, as well as being arguably one of the most powerful members of the Suicide Squad. Deadshot is strong enough to throw out monster soldiers with just one hand, and it took more than 4 armed guards to restrain him and hold him down. He's also durable enough to take a beating from Batman and continue fighting, and even survive and take attacks from Enchantress and Incubus, who are both superhumanly strong and powerful. But Deadshot's greatest physical asset has got to be his accuracy, just his sheer skill. It's been said that he's never missed a shot, can take targets out from 37 yards away by ricocheting a bullet, and he's deadly from just under 2.5 miles away. He can casually headshot multiple standing targets dead center with all sorts of firearms, can perform headshots without looking, and shoots down dozens of monster soldiers with his rifle and magnums. Floyd is also always packing a lethal arsenal on him. Besides just his bulletproof bodysuit and high-tech eye patch, he carries on an AR-15 assault rifle, a modified Glock 17, and wrist-mounted magnums, all of which can hook up with his eye patch and give him unparalleled aim. Batman. Batman is the Dark Knight and protector of Gotham City, but he's been doing this superhero thing for so long that he began to grow disillusioned, inflicting grievous pain on criminals, branding them with a bat symbol, and even killing people. However, after witnessing Superman's sacrifice and founding the Justice League with Wonder Woman, he regained hope and his strict moral code. Bruce Wayne has trained himself to physical perfection, and he's strong enough to easily break bones, knock men across the room with just one arm, restrain parademons, is actually strong enough to throw a batarang and to slice guns in half. He's durable enough to take an attack from a bloodlusted Superman, and his armor is also bulletproof, and it can even stop point-blank shots. Bruce is also fast enough to dodge gunfire, evade a Doomsday, and he's even reacted to and actually saved the Flash before. Batman's also an incredibly skilled fighter, one of the best fighters in the DCEU. He was able to fight against countless parademons, fought against and beat Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and Killer Croc in the past, and quickly took down a whole room of trained mercenaries and killers all by himself. Bruce has also got a massive arsenal on him as well, namely batarangs and his grapple gun. Then with prep time, man, Batman is on a whole different level. He created a suit of armor that allowed him to fight against Superman, then also had kryptonite grenade launchers, sonic cannons, turrets, and a kryptonite spear to actually beat the Man of Steel. With prep time, Batman could arguably take down most anybody in the DCEU. But we're not including prep time on this list, so that's why he's where he is on this list. Black Manta. And here marks the move from more street-level heroes and villains to a higher, more mid-level range. And it all starts with Black Manta. When David Kane first entered the DCEU, he was really nothing to write home about. Yeah, he was able to survive an encounter with Aquaman, but he really came into his own and became a whole lot more powerful after being given Atlantean tech. With his Atlantean armor, Manta is able to fight hand-to-hand against Aquaman, kicking him off his feet, headbutting him, and ramming him off a building. He's superhumanly durable as well, taking blows from Aquaman and was unharmed. However, his durability has obviously got its limits, as David was almost killed after being hurled off a cliff by Arthur. Black Manta's suit allows him to fire powerful optic blasts, similar to Superman's heat vision, and this was able to severely injure Aquaman. He's also got a wrist-mounted harpoon gun, made of Atlantean steel, strong enough to cut Aquaman. He's also got projectile blades that he keeps hidden on his armor. Overall, with his Atlantean suit, Black Manta was able to put up a really good fight against Aquaman. And that's just real impressive. Cyborg. Victor Stone was a former college football star, but after being involved in a horrific accident, his dad used a mother box to save him and grafted him with cybernetics. He lived in isolation, being scared of who he was. But Wonder Woman was able to persuade him to accept his powers and protect the Earth against Steppenwolf, alongside the rest of the Justice League. He's strong and durable enough to catch and throw Aquaman. He's actually taken attacks from Steppenwolf and kept on fighting. He even survived an explosion that injured Superman. His suit is able to instantly form a shield to block Superman's heat vision, reinstall his legs, is equipped with rockets, and allows him to fly, and Vic has even said that the suit has a security mechanism to deal with threats, although he can't always quite control it. Then he's got his plasma arm cannon, which not only is strung to blast away parademons, but has actually injured Steppenwolf and even Superman. Then his Cyborg is a master hacker, so he can turn pretty much any technology used against him on itself. He easily hacked into Batman's technology in the Batcave, and can wirelessly hack into computers and pretty much do anything that he wants. El Diablo. El Diablo might not look it at first, and he definitely had me fooled, but this guy's easily the most powerful member of the Suicide Squad. He didn't use his powers for most of the movie, after taking a vow of non-violence, But after getting jumped in a prison riot, he incinerated half the yard and turned them all to ash. He's also able to control his flames, firing them in a flamethrower fashion in order to burn some monster soldiers, form a miniature woman out of fire, and spout words with his flames. However, that fire manipulation alone isn't why I put him so high on this list. That alone isn't enough to justify it. But then, at the end of the movie, El Diablo transforms into a fire demon looking thing, and it just went to a whole new level. This avatar was able to easily overpower Incubus, Enchantress' brother, and stop his tentacles, which had previously casually destroyed trains and military vehicles. He even nearly killed Incubus before the form ran out. Flash. Barry Allen, the Flash, is able to move at incredible superhuman speeds, and is easily one of the fastest men alive, being rivaled only by Superman himself. Thanks to his connection to the Speed Force, Flash is fast enough to run up walls, basically disappear right in front of people, easily dodge or catch attacks, even from someone like Superman, and perform his own attacks in roughly 0.14 seconds. Thanks to his speed, he's able to take down opponents before they can even begin to react to him, and he decapitated and exploded parademons. However, here's the thing about the Flash, and what makes him so difficult to gauge and rank him. Because as fast as the guy is, he's not a fighter. He even says as much when he's talking to Batman. And while Barry does fight throughout the movie, he's also primarily on rescue duty in both of the League's fights. And even though Barry is faster than everyone he comes across, it's not impossible to react to him, as even Batman shot his grappling hook and grabbed Flash. He's also not too sure on his feet, as he tripped multiple times throughout the movie, and he can't use his speed to overpower someone who's stronger than him, like when he pushed Superman and Flash went flying backwards while Superman remained still. And it's for those reasons and those weaknesses why Flash just couldn't be put any higher on the list. Ocean Master. Orm Marius was the king of Atlantis and a skilled warrior, seeking to unite the Seven Kingdoms against the surface world and become the Ocean Master. Being a highborn Atlantean, Orm is physically superior to pretty much all other Atlanteans and rivals Aquaman in strength and power. He's strong enough to easily cut through a submarine with his trident, as well as lift up a giant stone pillar in order to save King Nereus, and he repeatedly sent Aquaman flying, and even broke Arthur's trident in their first fight. Orm possesses superhuman durability as well, as he stood to explosions, powerful energy blast, immense blunt force trauma, and even attacks on people like Aquaman and Mera. Ocean Master's also trained his whole life to become Atlantis' greatest warrior, as he dominated his half-brother Arthur in their first fight. In their second fight, even though it was on land and out of Orm's element, he still did remarkably well fighting against Aquaman. On top of that, Ocean Master was even able to swiftly kill the Fisherman King, defeated the Brine King, and even slayed many trench monsters with relative ease. Mera. Mera is a relatively newcomer to the DCEU, but what she has shown us, well, it's really impressed me. Like all Atlanteans, Mera possesses superhuman strength, durability, and speed. But being a warrior princess, she's actually well above most other Atlanteans. She was able to overpower and defeat several members of the Men of War, a trained Atlantean death squad, and even proved herself durable to take attacks from Steppenwolf, and only come out with minor injuries. Mera has also proved herself a skilled and experienced warrior and fighter, but her main power is the ability of hydrokinesis. This means that she can manipulate and control water, like when she fought against Steppenwolf, moving all the water around the new god and then collapsing it around him. She also did the same thing to Ocean Master, preventing him from killing Aquaman, moving all the water around him and then collapsing it on him. She's also able to drain water from others, like she did in her fight against Steppenwolf, or when she drained the water from Tom Curry's lungs in order to save his life. But she's also proven that she can create constructs out of water, calling it hard water, and use these constructs in a similar way that Green Lantern would use his energy ring constructs. She created tentacles or rays to send soldiers flying, created hard spikes out of wine and impaled soldiers, and even showed such control that she created a marine life display for a little girl. Enchantress. Enchantress is an ancient and interdimensional mystical being, and her brother were even worshipped in the past as gods, although she's clearly not quite as powerful as an actual Olympian god. Amanda Waller claimed that Enchantress is the most powerful metahuman that she'd ever come across, and she nearly overpowered the entire Suicide Squad single-handedly. She was superhumanly strong enough in battle to battle against the Suicide Squad all by herself and take repeated attacks on them, although she was particularly vulnerable to Katana's magical sword. Enchantress can teleport herself over both short and incredibly large distances, just seconds. She can generate and absorb electricity, manipulate the weather, turn intangible and phase through objects, and she can telekinetically attack and disarm opponents. She's also a powerful telepath, as she's able to implant hypnotic visions of alternate futures into people's minds, like convincing Deadshot he had killed Batman, or showing Harley Quinn that she was happily married and had 2 kids with the Joker. However, even with all this power, she can be a bit of a jobber at times, as she was defeated by people with guns and a magical sword. And that defeat kinda knocked her down a few pegs on this list, and otherwise she would have been higher. Aquaman. Aquaman is easily one of the most powerful heroes in the DCEU, and one of the strongest members of the Justice League, being surpassed only by Superman and Wonder Woman. He's strong enough to puncture Steppenwolf's armor, make the new god bleed, and send him flying with a punch. He quickly lifted a submarine and brought it to the surface, and he was able to overpower his half-brother Orm, shattering his trident. Aquaman is also superhumanly durable, as he took a hit from a bloodlusted Superman and swings from Steppenwolf's axe. However, his durability does have its limits, as Superman was able to send him flying, and advanced Atlantic technology can severely hurt him and make him bleed. However, he does seem to have a healing factor, as after his fight with Black Manta, he recovered after only a few hours. Aquaman is also superhumanly fast, especially under the water, being able to easily surpass Mach 4.6, but in a fight, he's able to dodge attacks from skilled warriors like Steppenwolf and Black Manta. Arthur's also a master combatant, being skilled enough to take down Ocean Master and Black Manta, and is especially skilled with his trident. Aquaman is famously able to telepathically interact with sea life, and after getting the trident of Atlantis, he had a control over every oceanic creature on Earth, even something like the monstrous Karathan. Aquaman is also even shown some limited hydrokinesis, like generating or stopping massive waves, but not as fine-tuned control as someone like Mera. Ares. Ares was the old god of war, and most fearsome son of Zeus, being worshipped by both the Greek and Romans. Being an Olympian, Ares has shown some insane superhuman strength, notably superior to that of Wonder Woman, as he sent her flying with his punches. And then he's got durability on par with someone like Superman, except Ares isn't vulnerable to magical attacks like Clark. Like Zeus, Ares can generate and control divine electricity, and he can also move, hurl, and manipulate objects to an immense degree with just simple hand gestures. Like he easily prevented Wonder Woman's lasso from entangling him, as well as pinning her to the ground with sheets of metal, or even sending entire tanks at her. He can transmute matter, manipulate and conduct heat, fly, cast illusions, and teleport pretty much anywhere on Earth instantly. Being the god of war, he has the formidable power to manipulate war and bloodlust, and actually becomes more powerful by being around war. And then, as one might expect from the war god, he is incredibly skilled and deadly with all weaponry and forms of fighting. However, here's my problem with Ares, because I originally thought he was going to be a lot higher on this list. And based on what we've heard, he definitely should be at the top. After all, he fought evilly against Steppenwolf, and during the War of the Gods, he defeated and killed basically every god there is, and it took all of Zeus's power to stop him. However, fast forward to Wonder Woman, and Ares looks like a bit of a chump, and is eventually beaten by Diana, who's relatively new to the whole superhero game. Really, Ares is like Enchantress, where they appear to be incredibly powerful villains, but then they lose to people that they should easily beat. And I understand that this is because of the whole the hero has to win thing, but just for the sake of this video, can't put them any higher. Wonder Woman. Due to her Amazonian and demigod heritage, Wonder Woman possesses incredible superhuman abilities, being the second most powerful hero in the DCEU, only being surpassed by Superman himself. She's strong enough to lift tanks and throw them, and she's actually strong enough to battle against Ares, the god of war, Doomsday, Steppenwolf, and Superman. Although it should be noted, pretty much every one of those guys was actually stronger than Diana, even if just slightly. She's also impressively durable, as she took punches from Ares, hit from Steppenwolf's axe, she took several headbutts from Superman, and Wonder Woman actually just smirked after getting hit by Doomsday. Diana is also superhumanly fast, is a casual bullet timer, and isn't afraid to use her speed in combat, as she'll just bull rush parademons. Wonder Woman has also been referred to as the greatest warrior, the best fighter in the entire DCEU, and she's actually taken down more powerful opponents just because of her skill and weapons. Speaking of her weapons, she's got the Sword of Athena, which broke Steppenwolf's axe and hacked off Doomsday's hand, the Lasso of Truth, which is strong enough to restrain Doomsday, her Amazonian shield, which is strong enough to take attacks from Doomsday and Superman, and the Bracelets of Submission, which generated shockwaves powerful enough to knock back Doomsday, Ares, and Steppenwolf. Zod. As a Kryptonian, General Zod was exposed to yellow sun radiation and gained many incredible new powers, essentially becoming godlike, and actually rivaling the old gods. Zod initially had some difficulty adjusting to the environment and to his new powers, but after that transition stage wore off, he was easily able to battle against Superman. In fact, due to his ruthlessness and complete lack of restraint, he was actually able to dominate Clark early on in their fight, despite Superman having absorbed much more solar energy. He's displayed virtually incalculable strength, able to easily move trucks, destroy mountaintops, and actually gained the upper hand over Clark in their fight, sending Superman flying through multiple skyscrapers and knocking him out in the process. General Zod is also displayed superhuman in vulnerability. He's taking attacks from a furious Superman, being slammed into buildings by Clark, and re-entered the atmosphere and kept on fighting through all of it. Zod is also superhumanly fast, as he blitzed Superman on multiple occasions, and is even able to use his superior fighting skill with his speed, reacting to it and blocking Superman's strikes. Basically, General Zod is physically almost as strong as Superman, and a better fighter, and it took everything that Clark had to put him down in Man of Steel. However, I think it should be mentioned that we can't scale General Zod off of the Superman that we saw in Justice League, because that was a post-resurrection Superman and was much more powerful than any Kryptonian we saw in Man of Steel. Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf is a cruel warlord from Apocalypse, being hailed as the end of worlds for every planet that it comes across with his pure demon army. Being a new god, he is a phenomenally powerful and divine being. In fact, it took the combined might of the Amazon, Atlantean, and human armies, a Green Lantern, and 3 Olympian gods to beat him in his first invasion of Earth. He displayed incredible superhuman strength, being able to defeat Aquaman while they were under the water, beat Wonder Woman several times, and even took down the combined might of both Diana and Arthur. He's also durable enough to take attacks from Wonder Woman and Aquaman, even with their sword and trident, Zeus's lightning. And while Superman's punches did definitely hurt him, Steppenwolf was never actually knocked out by the attack. Steppenwolf is a very skilled fighter, especially with his axe, and seems to rather enjoy a good fight, like when he told Hippolyta to run, or just smiled when the Justice League showed up at his headquarters to fight him. Overall, I think Steppenwolf gets trashed on quite a bit, because of how easily he went down to Superman. I mean, remember, this guy fought against gods like Zeus and Ares and didn't go down, and was comfortably owning the Justice League throughout the entire movie. Even people like Wonder Woman, who'd beaten Ares and did really well in her fight against Doomsday. But holy crap, did he get destroyed by Superman? I mean, that was just embarrassing. Doomsday. In order to bring down Superman, Lex Luthor took the corpse of General Zod and went on to perform a long-forbidden ancient ritual to create Doomsday. He's a terrifyingly powerful being, able to bring about apocalyptic destruction. It was actually created by Lex for the sole purpose of killing Superman. Doomsday is superhumanly strong, as Clark needed 2 hands to catch a punch from him, and he was able to send Superman and Wonder Woman absolutely flying with his punches. Doomsday is also surprisingly fast, as he dodged attacks from Clark and Diana, and actually reacted to and caught Superman as he was trying to blitz Doomsday. The monster is also superhumanly durable, as he was struck by a nuke, fell back to Earth, and just got right back up afterwards. He quickly recovered from any attack that Superman or Wonder Woman sent his way. Because of his ability to regenerate at a rapid pace, he's essentially impossible to be brought down with brute force alone. Doomsday's also got a reactive adaptation and evolution, and throughout his fight with the DC Trinity, he gained several new powers and abilities. For instance, he can unleash a powerful, omnidirectional shockwave that destroyed roughly a city block, or fire heat vision that sent Wonder Woman flying away, and actually overpowered Superman in his own heat vision. In short, Doomsday is probably the most powerful villain in the DCEU, and the only reason he didn't defeat the Trinity and destroy the rest of the world was because of that kryptonite spear. But even after being impaled, he still killed Superman, something no other villain was even close to doing. Superman. However, although Doomsday might be the most powerful villain in the DCEU, he's not actually the most powerful character. I believe that on Earth falls to Superman. Now, I know you might be saying, how does that make sense? Doomsday absolutely dominated Superman in their fight in BVS, and the monster was fighting and beating Wonder Woman at the same time. Even Batman took down Superman in that movie. So, how can you say that he is the most powerful character? Well, two things. One, in Superman's fight with Doomsday, this was a Clark who had just been exposed to a large amount of kryptonite radiation, and he was probably still recovering from that. However, he had probably recovered from it fully after being exposed to the direct sun in outer space. And really, that whole kryptonite thing is more of a theory than fact. But the second part, after Superman returned from the grave, well, he became twice the Superman he was before. Clark received a massive upgrade in Justice League. For starters, he absolutely trashed the Justice League as soon as he was brought back to life, beating Wonder Woman, and he was actually the only person remotely fast enough to keep up with the Flash. And then there was his fight with Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf, who had fought the Justice League and made it look easy, and even fought old gods like Ares and Zeus. Superman just ran through the new god like he was nothing. And this new version of the hero has easily proved himself to be the most powerful character in the DCEU. No one really knows for how long, but right now, Clark is definitely up on top. But what do y'all think? I would love to hear your thoughts. Send off in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe button. More videos, just one every single weekday. And I'll see you next time.